All right, here we go. So here is my Scareclaw deck that is completely designed to destroy Runicks. And I'm playing against a Runic deck here. So I get 4 Mud Skipper right here. I go 4 Mud Skipper into Scareclaw Lightheart. And I know you guys are probably wondering, what's the Nemesis Keystone? What's that? Necroface. You probably saw Necroface before. Why is it in a Scareclaw deck? This card really, really good going against Runicks because if they start banishing your cards and you need something specific for a combo, you can literally just play Necroface and all your cards go back into your deck. Bro, I can't make this up. Nemesis Keystone takes cards that they banish. If they banish something important, put it back into your deck, summons itself onto the field. If Nemesis Keystone gets banished, goes back into your hand. Like it's crazy. If they banish Nemesis Keystone at the end phase, it literally goes back into your hand. There are a lot of recursion cards here. So they banish a lot of my key cards right here on their turn. Of course, I got Baron the Floor. I've already used his effect. And my opponent is pretty much just banishing a lot of cards. So let's pause this right now and look at what all we got banished. We got Cosmic Cyclone. He hit one of my Cosmic Cyclones, which is a really powerful card going against Runicks. I wish I could have grabbed that in my hand, but whatever, it's okay. He also hit my Fusion Destiny, so no DPE this match. Still fine by me. He hit my Water Enchantress, completely fine by me as well. Water Enchantress, I could actually still get this card by simply putting it back into the deck with Nemesis Keystone. Nemesis Keystone summon itself out onto the field. Um, as far as anything else, doesn't really matter. So let's see what I choose to do. So I go Scareclaw Rykart, knowing that he had Skill Drain, and he flips his Skill Drain right here, right? So I go ahead and grab Scareclaw Slash. I attack right here, and then I'm just going to play my Slash. Now, the reason I do this is because I want to negate whatever the fuck this card is, because I know that whatever it is, he's going to need it. Because he does not have a play, he does not have a way to protect himself, he has absolutely nada. All I have to do is negate it. Very simple. Negate that shit, and then I get a free attack again, and then it's on him to figure out what he needs to do. So I banish that shit, just simply summon out Necroface. I could have gotten rid of his skill drain, but I wanted to just go ahead and end this bitch. So I go ahead and banish his Rivalry of the Warlord so I can play another monster. Now I could have also went for his field spell. Could have also went for his field spell, but he has a field spell in his graveyard. So if he literally went for the level 4 Runic, you can put that right back into his hand, activate it for absolutely no cost. I didn't want to risk that, so I get rid of his Rivalry of the Warlord, summon Necroface, and then just attack for game. And of course, I wasn't trying to activate that. It just activates when you summon it, so it's a mandatory effect. So pretty much victory for me. I win. Fuck this Runic bitch, and I'm going to show you guys the deck list. All right, so here we go. So here's my deck list. Um, there are some cards that I want to talk about. All the cards to the right, pretty much. The only one that's not in my deck is this Cyberstein right here. Now, the reason why it's not in my deck, but the reason why I wanted to talk about it, is because this card can basically bring out a very powerful monster, which is Neteria Exterio. So I'll kind of talk about all these cards kind of quickly. This card can basically just negate spell and trap cards infinitely, which is super powerful against Runicks. They really don't have a way to beat this card if it gets out before they can flip their skill drain. If it gets out before they can flip their skill drain, they're pretty much screwed. This card right here just moves cards all over the place. Literally, if this card's on the field, you can literally banish this card to target something in your opponent's hand and banish that card. At the end phase, or the standby phase of the next turn, it'll go back to your hand, back to their hand. But if it's something that they really need, you can get rid of it before they can use it. And sometimes it can be devastating for Runicks, especially if they have one last quick play spell. They activate their field spell, and you activate this while they activate their field spell. So force them to either try to quickly activate it after, meaning that they can't get the effect because they just played the the field spell, or just completely shut them down and now they have no more Runicks in hand. This card can be devastating for them. Naturia Exterio, like I say, it's basically an infinite negate. This card right here can banish their field spells, destroying them, making it hard for them to do anything. This card right here is devastating if you can get it flipped. Basically, they can't banish nothing. And the funny thing is, if they pop this card and you just so happen to grab this card, when you set this one, it'll make them want to pop it that much faster. So they'll be rushing to try to get a destruction so they can pop it because they don't want to see this card flip, right? Vice versa as well. If they pop this card, they don't want to see another one, so they might not pop the next one. So you might be able to flip this card on them. So these two cards kind of work together pretty well. Um, oh yeah, and Waking the Dragon, super powerful because Waking the Dragon can just bring out Naturia Exterio. So all I would do honestly, if you see they're playing Runicks, just set Waking the Dragon past turn. They're gonna pop it the first chance they get, and you just bring out Naturia Exterio. GG's, they lose. I don't run Cyberstein for that reason though, because basically whenever you go to activate this card, they usually just negate it, and when they negate it, basically you just pay 5,000 life points for nothing. So yeah, usually they can ash this card, but most of the time they don't ash it, and it's easier to stop an ash than it is a negate, because if they ash Waking the Dragon, then you could just use Call by the Grave, and you don't pay life points for that. Then you got Chaos Hunter. Chaos Hunter is the reason why everybody's running skill drain in their runic decks, because basically what people were doing was everybody started running Chaos Hunter, and they were just like, how do we beat Chaos Hunter? Well, we flip skill drain. Spell Canceller, I'm pretty sure you guys know that this card just basically stops you from being able to use spell cards, so shuts down runic decks completely, and you can just literally just attack for game because they can't do anything after that. Necroface, this card right here has two super simple to explain effects, but they're very powerful playing against Runicks for the funniest reasons possible. Their goal is to deck you out. Well, guess what? This card decks them out. And then the other card effect of this trolls them. You wait until they get you all the way down to damn near any less, almost nothing in your deck. You summon this card, it shuffles all that shit back into the deck. Now they gotta start all over again. Super funny. That's the first effect. If you normal this, shuffle all banished cards back into the deck. The second effect, however, if they're constantly banishing shit and they manage to banish 3 of these cards, you end up banishing 15 cards out of their deck if they manage to get all 3 banished. Um, Here's the next part of it that's even more funny. You run these 2 cards. We run 2 of these and 1 of these. You could run more if you want to completely deck them out. But the funniest thing is, running 2 of these means that if they don't banish these 2 in the same turn, you basically banish 10 more cards. And then if this card gets banished, you banish 5 more cards. So that means that's another 15 cards. So you could potentially banish 30 cards out of a runic deck, meaning they'll have 10 more cards. And usually they've been pulling cards left and right. So they're pretty close to decking out by that point. Um, Usually in the first couple turns, a runic player will be down to their last like 20 cards, because that's how frequent they use cards. They discard cards to grab the field spell. They're pulling cards. They're shuffling cards. They're constantly drawing cards. They're they're just doing all kind of stuff, all kind of unnecessary stuff. They're fishing for field spells. They're just fishing for their one allure. They're doing the most basically. So this card kind of screws them over. Well, this card right here, if this card gets banished, this card has two effects. If it hits the graveyard, you can bring it back and then banish it when it leaves the field. But we don't care about the first effect. The second effect is what matters most with this card in this particular deck, which if this card gets banished, you can target one banished card, shuffle it back into the deck. The card I target is Necroface. This one, if it gets banished, basically you could add one monster from your banished zone, or I'm saying it wrong. If this card gets banished, you can add it to your hand, and then you can special summon this card to basically unbanish something and shuffle it back into the deck. So yeah, that's pretty much all the cards. But if that makes sense to you all, super powerful way to play this deck. I didn't really showcase that in the gameplay, but I mean, this deck is designed to destroy Runic players. So yeah. But anyways, GG's my friends. Hopefully you guys like the deck list. You build this deck, slap these cards into your deck. Hopefully you'll start destroying Runic players. And I'm pretty sure they'll find a workaround to beat some of these cards, but this is a lot of cards to try to figure out a workaround for. But yeah, GG's, go start slapping some Runic players in the head.